Hello and welcome to our webcast on customized employment. My name is Jennifer McDonough and I'm the project director for our research study that we'll be discussing today. Today we'll do a quick overview of the foundation of the work that we're presenting on, the research study specifically that this work is covered under. Then I'll share some key points about customized employment. Following this, I'll share two of our employment specialists with you, and they will talk about some case studies of the research that we have been currently providing. So we have been working on a NIDLR grant related to customized employment for individuals with disabilities. This is a 5-year research study, and it will end in September of 2021. It's a randomized control trial, and it is working with individuals who are 18 to 24 years old with intellectual and developmental disabilities, including autism. The goal of the project is for these young adults to achieve competitive employment, specifically customized employment. Individuals who are randomized into the treatment group will be randomized into the customized employment aspect of the study, and those individuals are connected with an employment specialist. Those employment specialists work with the young adults to learn about them, find out about their interests and strengths, and then assist them in finding employment. Part of the discovery process is to really get to know the individual's strengths, interests, and preferences, as well as the supports that they need to be independent in employment. This is really the foundation of customized employment, and it's key to how we move throughout the process, and we use what we learn in discovery to take us through each step of their employment path. So during our discovery period of time, we have a lot of different activities that we employ to get to know the individuals that we're working with. We start out typically with home visits, and during these visits we talk about what the individual likes to do while they're at home, when they're away from the home, places they enjoy visiting, but we also do a lot of observation. What's going on in the home? Who's in the home with the individual? Who are those key people that we need to spend time with to get to know this individual? What's on the walls? Is there artwork that maybe the individual has made, or are there pictures that the individual's in that can kind of give us a glimpse into their life? Maybe there's sports memorabilia on the walls. Maybe they'll share with us a quick trip into their private area, like their bedroom, to talk about, some of the things that they have collected over the years and have placed in their bedrooms or in a family room. We also interview family and friends and other individuals that are significant to the individual, maybe a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a teacher. Gathering information from these folks can help us learn more about the individual that maybe the job seeker hasn't shared with us specifically. We can also get to know about their cultural and social background. We have a young lady that we've worked with who came from South Africa, and she's very ingrained in sharing that culture with us and wants to continue learning about that culture and being connected to that culture, and does so through different activities in our current community or our home community of Richmond. And so it's important for her to participate in those events, and so that's something that we can observe her in. We also observe job seekers in multiple environments to collect information, both new environments and as well as comfortable environments like their home. We also want to understand the non-work needs of the job seeker. So what's important to them and what are their preferences, whether it is that they enjoy, spending their Sundays at church, or they like to sleep late. And so thinking about those things, it would drive how we assess when they're available to go to work and the things that are important to them in finding a work schedule that meets their needs. We also do informational interviews, going out to businesses with or without the job seeker to learn about what the business entails, what happens on a daily basis, what is the business doing on Mondays versus Thursdays. Are there different schedules? Are there different times of the day where different activities happen? What are all the job tasks that occur in that business? And we also do job shadows, where the individual job seeker could come in and spend some time learning about that business. For someone who maybe states that they enjoy working with animals, going in and shadowing in a veterinary office to see that it's not just spending time with pets in a fun way, but there's other activities that go on that are more related to maybe cleaning up after the pets or seeing pets that are really in distress that can be alarming. We also do business tours, and this is something that I enjoy doing because I'm a very visual person, and so going into a business and actually walking around with the business owner or manager to learn about what happens in a day-to-day basis and what do those specific job tasks that occur look like. What does it mean to work in a materials management position in a hospital? What does that actually look like? What are the supplies that you're using in those different tasks? Who supports the discovery process? Well, a lot of people. The job seeker is the primary person. That's who we want to pay closest attention to, and what their needs are and what their skills and abilities are. But we also want to pay attention to the individual's family and friends. What can we learn from them? As well as their social networks and any paid professionals, teachers or clinicians that work with them. As well as business personnel, whether they've done volunteer activities or have had paid employment previously. We need to connect with all of those individuals and almost act as a private investigator to learn as much as we can about the individual so that we can find the best match for them in employment. Through the discovery process, we'll learn all of these different things about individuals that will drive what's called a theme. And those are the ways that we kind of sort and categorize interest and skills and abilities so that we can then go to the next step of looking at employment. And so on this side, you'll see some themes and then some things that are not themes. So a theme example might be that the individual's interested in sports and enjoys going to football games and working with and collecting sports memorabilia. Or they're interested in the arts and they enjoy making different crafts and going to a pottery to spend their time on the weekends. Whereas what wouldn't be considered a theme would be walking dogs or painting or planting flowers. So planting flowers isn't a theme, however, agriculture and horticulture is. So there's a bit of a difference there in how you're categorizing things. You want to think broadly as you discover themes. When we are looking at the discovery process, it really culminates into creating a job seeker profile. And this is something that's done with the job seeker and the important people in their lives to look at all of the information that you've gathered through that discovery process, and then it will help direct your job development path. It is an actual narrative, so it's a written document, and it talks about the individual skills and abilities, their interests and preferences, as well as the ideal features of their employment. And it's it takes place at the conclusion of the discovery process during an employment planning meeting, where you gather all of those important people together that the individual would like to include and discuss all of the data that you have in all of those different areas and say, this is the path that we're going to move forward with, and make sure that everyone's in agreement. It also gives you a way to look at who do you know and who can you connect with. And so through that meeting, you can identify the different themes and say, who do you know in the community that can speak to those themes? Do we know anybody who is in sports or in agriculture that may be able to help us in our job development? The other thing that we'll utilize in the job development is the portfolio or visual resume. So in this, we are highlighting skills and interests and experiences, and you can use a variety of methods. We can use PowerPoint or video or a combination of that to, instead of using a typical resume that is just a paper and ink resume, instead it really highlights the person's skills and abilities through pictures and videos to show employers exactly what the individual is able to do and is interested in doing. And that is used during the job development process. And so we're using all of that information from the discovery activities to kind of take us down the job development path. We're utilizing our social capital. Who are we connected with? Who's in our networks, both personally and professionally? We're using social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of Twitter, all of those different social media areas to connect with people. We're scheduling tours and taking informational interviews, as well as arranging meetings and working interviews for the individuals that we are serving. In those meetings, we're discussing what the ideal employment situation would be for our job seeker, and then negotiating with the manager or business owner to look at a customized position. And through that, we may need to create an employment proposal that discusses exactly what the individual would be doing in their customized job, as well as the needs of the business and how we as employment specialists may be supporting that individual once they're employed. We're also identifying tasks, looking at job seeker preferences, accommodations, hours, pay, and any supports that they may be needing once employed. So what does this look like in real life? We've got Michaela Lemieux and Tomoya Lamberson with us today, and they're going to share some case studies with you.
Thank you, Jen. My name is Michaela, and I am one of the employment specialists working under this grant. And today I will be discussing one of the individuals that I've been working with named Terry. Terry graduated from high school in 2011 and was then referred for customized employment in 2018. And after graduation, she earned 2 certificates. One was in clerical studies, and she also earned a certificate of completion in a veterinarian assistant program. And during this time between school and when she was referred to the customized employment grant, she participated in some other activities. One that she still continues to do today, which is volunteering at a local law office, as well as helping take care of some relatives that had become ill. And also during this time, she unfortunately unsuccessfully applied for employment after graduation, so she did not gain employment. So our first discovery activity was for me to meet with Terry and her mom, and we actually met at our office because that had been more convenient for her and her mother at the time. So one of the things that I learned about Terry was that she loves working with animals, and she also enjoys clerical tasks. So one of the first other discovery activities we did was to go to a local park where they have a bunch of farm animals. I then observed her at her law office volunteer position, and then I was able to coordinate 2 work experiences. One was at a veterinarian clinic and another at a local gym doing clerical tasks. So my observation at the law office where she volunteers at, I learned that she checks the cases that the attorneys have recently closed, and she goes into a computer system and makes sure that the attorneys did close them, and she also checks off on them. And once she confirms that they are closed, she has to go in and file them alphabetically into a large file cabinet. While observing her, I learned that she's very detail-oriented. She pays attention to the quality of the work she is doing, and she also makes sure that she is doing it correctly, and she can pick up on her mistakes very quickly. So after this observation, I confirmed with her that she would be open to pursuing clerical as a theme. And I had also discussed the possibility of employment at this particular law office. However, her mom had previously discussed that as well and informed me that they were not open because of budgeting reasons. So the next work experience that Terry did was at a vet hospital. And I was able to identify this particular location by using my social capital with another coworker who knew about this place. And so Terry was able to help the vet examine a group of rescue dogs. So there were about 5 dogs who came in and at different times, and Terry would help hold the dog so that the vet could give them the proper shots and make sure that the dogs seemed to be in good health. Terry was able to follow the doctor's instructions very well, and she even asked Terry some questions, such as, why she needed to hold the dog a certain way and what she liked about the veterinarian field. Terry was very excited about this work experience, and again, I confirmed that working with animals would be one of her job themes moving forward. The next work experience that Terry completed was at a gym doing clerical tasks. And again, I used my social capital because this was a previous employer that we had worked with before. And some of the job duties that Terry did, she had to input client information into a computer system. So whenever a new client would come in to the gym, they would have to fill out a form, and then that form needed to be put into the computer system. And then once Terry put that information into the computer, she needed to file the form in alphabetical order by last name. And so while watching her, I could tell she was, again, very organized. She was able to recognize the mistakes that she did without me needing to prompt her at all. I also learned that she was uncomfortable answering phones, which was something that was important to identify. And again, she enjoyed this clerical work experience. So using our social capital, we were discussing Terry's interest, skills, and themes during a team meeting, and our program manager had mentioned that she knows, or she has a contact at a local law office, and she was able to arrange an informational interview. So the program manager and I went to meet with the HR director at this law office, and we learned that this office is going digital, and they have thousands of cases that need to be scanned into their computer system. And so part of the tasks would be to check these files, make sure there are no staples, no paper clips, no CDs, no medical files or original files in the folders, and then they would be put back into their boxes and then taken to be scanned. And before we ended this informational interview with the law office, we were able to negotiate a work experience for Terry. So at the law office, she worked doing tasks. She was closing out files on the computer, similarly to what she was doing at her volunteer opportunity. However, it was a different computer system, but Terry picked up the task pretty quickly, and she was doing some of the closings independently from myself and from the individual who was kind of overseeing this work experience. And after this work experience, I met with the HR director again, and we were able to customize a position for Terry. So Terry works 3 days a week for 3.5 hours a day, and she makes $10 an hour. And her customized job is to prepare the boxes to be scanned. She will have 3 to 4 boxes per day on her desk every morning, and she will go through them, again, making sure there are no paper clips, no staples, basically anything that cannot be scanned. And she will go through them, put them back in the box, and then notify one of her supervisors that the boxes are ready to be scanned, or if she needs more boxes. So her daily plan is she arrives at work, she checks in with her supervisor, and then she goes to her desk and she sets her alarms, one for her to take a break and then one for her to start cleaning up once she is nearing the end of her shift. She independently asks her supervisors or another coworker when she needs more boxes to complete, and she then tells them when she has completed the boxes, and they can be taken from her desk and brought to the scanner. So the on-site support since Terry started has been very great. They're so appreciative of her, and everyone really takes the time to come and say hi to her. I mean, I think there's about 50 or so employees, and they're all walking around the office, and every one of them stops and says hi and thanks her for what she is doing. I was able to start fading from the job site about 3 weeks into her employment, mainly because she picked up the tasks really quickly and because of the great on-site support that she has. And I would say about 5 weeks into her job, she was 100% independent and continues to do well today. And there's even talk about expanding her role and giving her more hours. And when discussing that with Terry, she was more than excited to work more hours and keep doing these tasks because of the great on-site support and independence that she has.
All right, hello, I'm Tomoya Lamberson. I'm another one of the employment specialists working on the customized employment grant. I'm going to be talking today about Randy. He graduated high school in 2018. While he was in high school, he helped tutor children, a couple 12-year-old children in math, English, history for about 4 hours a week. This is just for 2 years. He worked also as a summer camp counselor, as a volunteer. Here he helped kind of just enforce safety measures, interact with the children during various activities. And he enjoys caring for and walking his dog. Discovery activities included interviewing with Randy and his parents. I talked with Randy about what did he enjoy about tutoring the children, what did he enjoy about his summer camp counselor position. These included observations and informational interviews at familiar and unfamiliar places. So familiar talked about, I contacted his previous employer when he was a tutor, talked about how was he interacting with the children, what did he seem to enjoy about it, were there any issues that popped up that he needed support with. Unfamiliar informational interviews and observations, this included going to a local museum where we toured around the facility. I got to see how much he enjoyed talking about and learning about the history. It was a Civil War museum, and I really saw how much he liked to interact with myself about what he was learning and add additional information that he knew about. We also toured an assisted living facility where he got to learn more about what was provided at the facility, meet some of the residents there. And this also included a work experience at the assisted living facility where he got to help with a bingo activity where he helped hand out chips. He got to call out the numbers for bingo and interact with the residents and help clean up afterwards. From these discovery activities, I learned that he enjoys entertainment. That's something he really explained through interviews, specifically the film industry. He enjoyed interacting with the children, helping them learn these various subjects, math, English, history. He really enjoyed the American history out of all history subjects. That was seen at the museum. He enjoys interacting with older adults, often talking about history. The assisted living facility, I got to see him interact with these older adults, talking about what activities do they like to do, how they enjoy the bingo activity. And I also learned that he has limited access to transportation. He does have a local transportation that is used in that area, but he had used it before and explained to me that he did not enjoy it and would rather not use that transportation. His transportation really relied on his parents' availability, working around their work schedule. So his themes that came out were entertainment, working with children, and history. These came through all the discovery activities and observations. So the job development plan was put together based off his themes that were set. And based off this plan, and several informational interviews were conducted to help create a position. I first approached the locations where we did discovery activities. The museum, spoke with the director there and learned that a lot of their employment relies on either volunteer work or requires the individual to have a higher education that Randy did not possess. The assisted living facility also relied heavily on volunteer work or also higher education and experience that Randy did not possess. In canvassing his neighborhood, I came across a local movie theater that fit his entertainment employment theme, specifically the film industry. I met with the manager there and learned more about the tasks that were conducted by employees there. I learned that they were interested in having someone specifically focus on ticket taking. The employees at the time usually have to rotate between ticket taking, box office, and concession stands. Box office and concession stands wasn't really what Randy was interested in. We met with the manager and conducted an interview where Randy talked about his interest and his interest in the ticket-taking position, really with interacting with individuals coming in and out of the theater. It was learned that he has a food allergy that really was pushing him away from the concession stand, specifically to dairy products and nut allergies. That position ended up not turning out after Randy was not able to work around some previous traveling arrangements he had set that the employer was not willing to customize around. In canvassing his neighborhood again, I came across a child care facility that was within walking distance of his house. So with this child care facility, I met with the director and I conducted an informational interview where I learned about how the operation runs, what the facility provides. I presented Randy's skills and interests, his experience before working with children, and his desire and interest in working with children again. The director had us come in and we were able to tour the facility and shadow a teacher, see how they interact with children, the policies that are run, how they conduct their classrooms. And from there, a position was customized. I spoke with the director about what their needs were, what was observed, what Randy could help with. And because of the walking distance, this really met his transportation needs. He was able to walk easily to the employer. He lives in a kind of an integrated residential business community with sidewalks readily available that he could avoid walking on the street in order to get to the location. So I met with the director and we developed a position fitting their needs and Randy's needs. So he works Monday through Friday, 4 hours a day. Here he helps teachers keep track of children, he interacts with the children, promotes safety, distributes and cleans up the snacks, collects and cleans up the nap cots, and accompanies children to the play area. Occasionally he'll help clean up with the dishes and other tasks that are asked of him. So Randy's support needs relied on demonstrations from an employment specialist, myself, and natural support. If he needed to learn how to do a task, often if he was shown how to do so, he would remember it. If he had a question, a lot of times exposure and explanations helped him remember and address that concern he had. When he first started, he was working with age groups 5 and up because he was less comfortable working with younger than that. So say like 4 down to infants. But as he was exposed more and more to this, shadowing teachers, seeing how to best work with infants, he became more comfortable. Also explanations as to why to adjust your approach towards different age groups. Adjusting your approach works best based off their age, how they accept interacting with them. Visual aids were used at times with, say, like the cleaning of the dishes. He needed to remember exactly how many pumps of soap, the amount of sanitizer solution went into each sink, the water temperature. So basic visual aids, just a label over each sink. He also needed some assistance in learning to cope with loud noises. And this was observed after I realized that he seemed sensitive towards loud noises when, say, like a child was screaming or crying loudly. He would kind of wince and turn away and seem to avoid the child. So we addressed this by having him either redirect his attention to another task if the teacher was working with the child on the screaming or addressing what concern the child had, or working with the child and having them redirect their attention, often causing them to forget whatever they're crying or screaming about. So this was one of the simple solutions we put together after an incident occurred, and this was after I had started fading off-site. So I wasn't directly with him when this occurred, but I got a call from the director saying that an incident had occurred where they came across Randy kind of crying, breaking down in the hallway, and I found out that someone had walked in on him in the bathroom. And the bathrooms at the facility, they don't have a window, it's a single stall bathroom, and he had forgot to lock the door. And the director had actually accidentally walked in on him, apologized, and shut the door. It turned out that Randy thought he was in trouble. So I contacted Randy, and he explained the same thing to me, that he was crying and saying that they walked in on him, they saw him, that he was for sure going to be fired. So I explained to him that it wasn't an issue at all, helped calm him down, saying, this happens, you didn't do anything wrong. What can we do to address this to make sure it doesn't happen again in the future? So we together, and also with the director, kind of worked on just a simple solution of creating a magnet with the word occupied on it, shape of an O to kind of fit the whole child theme. And this was put on the inside of the door. So whenever Andy entered the bathroom, he would take it off, put it on the outside of the door. So if he did happen to forget to lock the door, someone would see that it was occupied. This also helped all the other employees at the facility to make sure that if they happened to forget to lock the door, that it was known that someone was in there. So this helped address the issue, and it didn't pop up again, and really helped ease his comfort level in using the bathroom. So after all this was implemented, I faded more and more off site. Natural support was more implemented, and he was more comfortable when he reached job satisfaction.
Thank you so much for joining us on our webcast. And if you have more information about the work that we're doing or about customized employment, please see our website listed here, https:// drip.vcurrtc.org. In addition, if you have any questions about what we've presented or would like to talk to us more about customized employment, please post your questions on our web board. Thank you so much and have a great week.